All right, welcome back to the Wrestling with Altitude podcast. I am your host, Mr. Fourth Row, and today on this episode of the WWA podcast, I have the fans' addiction, Lonnie Valdez. Lonnie, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you? How's your night going?
It is going well. Spring is happening, so I'm finally glad to have a little bit of the warmer weather.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I'm always more of a summer boy than a winter boy, so yeah, I'm quite happy about that. As well.
Cool. All right. Well, so hey, let's. I'm so glad to have you on the podcast this week. So let's start at the beginning. How did you get interested in professional wrestling? Did you watch it as a youngster?
Yeah, I've been pretty much watching wrestling my whole life. My family was doing a little bit of like local wrestling out here, like more kind of a outlaw territory, kind of indie wrestling. My uncle did it out here, and they were never anything big or national or anything like that. They just did it like very locally. So I grew up around them. They always showed it to me. So when it came time, when I was like 18, I'd been in martial arts for a long time. So when I turned 18 and got out of high school, my mom asked me, she was like, "Are you going to be a wrestler or a boxer?" She didn't really ask me if I was going to like go to college or anything like that. She just asked me, wrestler or boxer. So I chose wrestling and went down to Dory Funk Junior School down in Florida and started training, and then came back out here and started taking bookings.
Awesome. All right. So your family kind of already had a career path in mind for you then.
Yeah, they just kind of, I think, especially my mom, she kind of knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. And she was just there to support me. She just very much had my back on that one and, arranged for me to go down to Florida and started doing that down there, and then came back out here, went to college eventually. And then, just started taking bookings and been wrestling out here ever since. And this year in August 15th, it'll be 20 years that I've been doing this.
Oh, well, cool. Well, congratulations on the upcoming anniversary.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's been a very fun, very long road. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So did your family, since it was kind of a family business, did they kind of influence you when you were? Were you watching the product on television? When you were younger, were you watching the WWF, the WCW, maybe even the AWA? Back then?
Yeah. When I was smaller, I never actually got to see my family wrestle. Like I said, they did it very locally and only for a very short time, but they had really good memories of it. So they, my uncle and one of my aunts, I think my aunt had like 3 matches. My uncle probably did it for like 2 years. So it wasn't like it was a big, huge deal, but listening to them talk about it was kind of a big deal, especially when you're like 4 or 5 years old, But so I never actually got to see them do it. They did it even like before I could remember that. But yeah, I grew up watching WWE and AWA, guys like Nick Bockwinkel and Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels down there in the AWA. This was very much an AWA territory, so I actually didn't really even watch the NWA or WCW until I was like a teenager.
Right. Okay. And who were some of your favorites to watch?
Growing up, when I was that young, I honestly couldn't, guys like Macho Man, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, the top guys, obviously. And then, but when I became a teenager, I really became like obsessed with the cruiserweight style, especially like Japanese Prodesu, Super J-Cup, 1994, guys like Ultimo Dragon was a huge influence on my style, which is where like a lot of kicks and moonsaults come from. Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio Jr., Otani, Jushin Thunder Liger, Great Sasuke, like all those guys. If you look at 1994 Super J-Cup, that entire roster is pretty much kind of who kind of influenced my style and who really made me want to become a pro wrestler and getting up there. So, I really became a huge fan of like the cruiserweight style and mainly Prodesu, like New Japan Junior heavyweights and the All Japan, heavyweights in the 90s. Those were guys that really kind of like turned my head and made me want to do this, not just watch it, but made me actually want to go out and do it.
Okay, all right. Well, I can definitely see the Ultimo Dragon in your repertoire from watching you wrestle. I can definitely see how that influenced you, and I think you almost have a good parallel if I can take the time to say so.
Well, man, thank you. I take that as a very big compliment. Like I said, those guys were always just huge influences on me, and Ultimo Dragon style kind of fit. But like, I've honestly stole a little bit from all of those guys. Snap
Yeah,
suplexes from Benoit, and a couple different moves from Dean Malenko, and Ray and Eddie, and just that whole group. I've kind of modified them, kind of made them my own. Especially after doing them for 20 years, you kind of make it your own. But well, nearly 20 years. But yeah, pretty much that group and that group of wrestlers at that time is pretty much who I got everything from. Even guys from like Toriumon or Dragon Gate or whatever you want to call it, like guys like Shima and you know, um, you know, uh, Dragon Kid and all those guys. Those were really like big influences on my style.
mm. And so you talked about where you started your training. So let's talk about your first match. Who was it against, and what was it like? Any nerves or any of that kind of stuff happening?
Oh yeah, I was insanely nervous. It was a tag team match, and it was me and this guy Adam Windsor against this guy Jeremy Jett and HC Loke, and it was for Dory Funk. He put on a little show in a town called Ocala, and we wrestled that night, and we got broken in, got the hell beat out of us, like it's pretty common for rookies, but we ended up winning. We ended up going over, and then the main event that night we had a battle royal, and actually Lita, WWE Hall of Famer Lita, she ended up winning the battle royal that night. So it was a pretty cool experience for me being fresh 18 years old to be in there and be able to see all that as young as I did.
Oh wow, that is very very cool. So so far in your wrestling career, have you had any real memorable moments or brushes with greatness? I think I saw that you have, but let's tell the listeners about that.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate to wrestle some of the best guys out there. Like, one everybody kind of remembers is I wrestled Seth Rollins before he was Seth Rollins, when he was just Tyler Black out here in Denver. Joey Ryan as well. Recently I've been able to wrestle quite a few, super talented, insanely talented guys. DJ Zima Ion just got signed to the WWE, and me and him and Caleb Crush just a couple of years ago, we got to have just an insanely fun match for Lucha Libre and Laughs. Colt Cabana, like all these really, really fun guys that are just really, really good at what they do is always a pleasure to work with them. A ton of super talented guys down in Florida. Dory Funk Jr. He kind of attracts some attention. So he's always got different stars coming through. Guys, another Hall of Famer like Carlos Colon came down there. He brought Eddie Colon, who everybody kind of knows as Primo Colon in the WWE. I got to train with him for a second. After so long, you just kind of meet all these different people and get to see how cool the guys they are, not only in the ring but out of the ring. It's pretty cool, man, when you think about it. And like, I don't even really think about it too much anymore, but yeah, I've actually got to be in the ring with some very, very top talented guys, and kind of blessed to do so, to be honest.
Oh, cool, very cool. Okay, well now, and speaking of not thinking about things, I just have kind of an oddball question. Lucha Libre and Laughs, as I have mentioned on the podcast before, has their ring up on a stage, and so it is even higher than the floor is, from the top rope to the floor. And you do some crazy moves off of the top rope. Do you ever get scared because it's a little bit farther than the average height from the top rope to the floor, or you just kind of go at it and just kind of trust your opponents to be there to hit them with the move? It sounds crazy, and I'm not trying to be a tough guy or a badass or anything like that, but every time I've done those moonsaults or jumped off that ring, I've never once been scared to do it.
I think if I was scared, it would stop me cold. So I don't even think about it. I just kind of do it.
Okay.
But it's not like it's not really something I'm afraid of. And so far so good. Nothing bad has ever happened. But throughout Lucha Libre and Laughs, I've kind of turned that entire the Oriental theater. I've kind of turned it into my giant playground. I've pretty much jumped and flipped that building at this point. But it's worth it, especially for that particular crowd and how fun they are. It makes you want to do more and more for them because their reaction is so great, and it gives you such a energy, like such an adrenaline rush that I will never mind doing silly crazy stuff for those guys because the locker room is always, great. The promoter is a really good guy. Don't ever tell him I said that. But all in all, yeah, no, man, I've turned that place inside out and done some, jumped off and backflipped off of some really, really crazy stuff. But it's always been for the betterment of the show. And, I never mind doing it. It's just, if I could add it to it, I will.
All right. And is that by any chance where the moniker, the Fans Addiction, came from? Was from that promotion? No, that came from a long time ago, and honestly, it was a joke. It started off as a joke, because I used to be a DJ at a particular club. I won't say the name of it, but it was a gentleman's club. And one night when I was DJing, Jane's Addiction came in with Dave Navarro. They all came in. They were partying, having a good time. And got to actually interact with Dave Navarro and everything like that, and like talk to him. He was just an insanely cool guy who tipped me very well. And so that night we were joking around, and I was wrestling at the time, and one of my friends at the thing said, those guys are Jane's Addiction. You're a professional wrestler around here. You must be the Fans Addiction. And I thought it was really funny, and I liked it so much that I started using it, and just kind of stuck. And I thought it was unique. I hadn't heard it before, so I thought it was a cool thing. And be truthfully honest, I can't even remember that one guy's name, but I thought it was a good line. Oh, well, very cool. I like it. That's a good story. All right. So, before we got officially interviewing here, you had told me that you actually have been you did some training in your career as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, honestly, out of all the things I've done, I'm kind of that's probably the stuff I'm most proud of is like the friends and family that I've actually been able to train. I think the most successful one out of every guy I've trained so far is probably Royce Isaacs. He's out in California and out on the East Coast and pretty much everywhere right now, pretty much winning every title that isn't tied down. He's doing fantastic all over the place right now. He's wrestled for DDT in Japan. He's, all kinds of different television shows. He won the Defy Tag Team Champions. He's killing it. Him and his tag team partner Jor-El, they're doing fantastic. Super, super proud of Royce. Cody Devine's another one of my students. He's out in California right now. Caleb Crush, who wrestles with me at Lucha Libre and Laughs, he's another one of my students. But I've been pretty much training guys for about 18 years now, and had some insanely fun matches with my students, and pretty much those guys are like family to me, brothers in a big bad way, and I love them to death. So out of all the things I've done, training those guys and seeing them come out and become really good at what they wanted to do, and it's a very special thing for me. So very proud of them.
Okay, so yeah, I gather from previous interviews that I've done, when the student gets to face the teacher in one of their first matches, if not the first match, I hear that it's really, really fun and it's really exciting for both parties. Is that the case?
Yeah. The first time I got to wrestle Royce was on a lucha show out here, not Lucha Libre and Laughs, like a smaller lucha show. It was for Hugo's Lucha back when they were still running out of this little bar. And we just got to go out there. It was just a match that I set up because I wanted to get him some more experience. So I kind of set it up, and we went out there and we just had a blast. And it was a lot of fun. And Royce said that during some part of the match, I did a tope over and landed on him, and we kind of landed in the front row. And I didn't hear it, but Royce heard it. He said that one of the fans just like leaned over to his friend and was just like, "This is amazing," or "This is awesome," or something like that. And he got a huge kick out of that, being like one of his first matches out. Wrestled Cody several times, like a ton of times. Caleb Crush too, like all these guys, first time you get to get in the ring with them and actually see them apply, the things that you've been going over and practicing with them. It's really cool. And to watch them grow beyond what you've taught them. One thing I've always taught my students or, the guys I've trained is that I'm not your only trainer. Like, seek other people out. If you only wrestle me, you're going to get really good at wrestling me, but you have to learn from other people as well. Like, I could start you off and I could show you some stuff and I could get you started, but you're not going to be great listening to one person. Go out and listen to other people, find other trainers. I'll always be here if you need advice or if you want my opinion on anything. I've got your back, but as soon as, go out and find other people who could teach you other ways, because wrestling is so subjective on the different ways to do things. So just go out there and learn from the best and keep going. And so many of my guys have done that, and I'm proud of how much they've grown.
Right. Yeah. I would say that it's kind of like that thing where, like, say you have a problem, to draw a parallel. Say like you have a problem with your car and you take it to the same mechanic over and over again. They can't fix it. Well, take it to another mechanic because they have a different set of eyes. So it's kind of like that parallel where you have somebody else looking at, say, a student in this case, so they can see, give you some more advice to, hey, try this or do this or, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of, getting, like you were saying, kind of getting more influence from different directions.
Yeah, exactly. And like, different perspectives is also key because, I could look at you from my perspective all day long and say, I think this would be good for you. That could be good for you. But, you go somewhere else and a completely different wrestler is just like, try this. I saw this guy over here try this one time. Why don't you try it? And then it fits. It's, learning from different perspectives is always key. Like, you should never shut somebody out and never, if somebody gives you advice, even, with wrestling, after a while, things could get very annoying with people telling you should try this, you should try that. But, you should always kind of listen to it and always just kind of take it for what it is, especially guys with experience. If they've been around a little bit and they've seen some stuff, if they've got an idea for you, listen to it and see if it applies. If it applies, great. If it doesn't, cool. You didn't lose anything, but other people, giving you advice and trying to, hand you a couple little nuggets of information. If they take their time out of their day, especially veterans, if they, take the time out of the day to pay attention to you and they see potential in you and they want to help you out, definitely take that advice. Right. I try to do that. I definitely try to do that for a lot of the younger guys out here. I always find it a huge compliment when, younger guys like Filter or Curtis Cole or Austin Logan, those guys kind of reach out to me and ask me if I have anything for them or I could watch their match. I always try to go out of my way to do that for them because it's a huge compliment to me. And I know it's just them, trying to get better at their craft. So, if anybody's listening to this, yeah, man, ask everybody for help. And if they can help you, they will.
Yeah, cool. So let me ask you about another little kind of off the wall topic. So in Lucha Libre and Laughs, if the listeners don't know by now, there's running commentary during the matches. So the comedian that had their set before your match joins the master ceremony comedians for that match that's right after them. Now, do you get distracted or do you even get amped up by some of the running commentary during your match?
Every now, like most of the time I don't pay attention and I just kind of tune it out and kind of paying attention to what I'm doing. And I'm paying attention to the crowd mainly. So the commentary, I don't really listen to it, but every now and then a joke will sneak through and, and sometimes it even makes me laugh. Our host for a long time was Bobby Valentino. And when he was introducing me to get me to the ring, he's like, and Bobby will tell you that he always says I'm his favorite wrestler, but when I come out there, it's always dangerous being a comedian's favorite wrestler because they just rib you the whole time. So on the way to the ring, he's the first guy to ever say that he called me the boy with the dragon tattoo. And, and so that's become a favorite line of the commentary team now. They'll bust that out every now and then. And I always hear that one kind of pierce through when they say that. I think it's hilarious. Being the fans' addiction, one of the commentary teams said at one point, all the fans here in the Oriental Theater are addicted to three things: cutting themselves, cocaine, and Lonnie Valdez. And and I thought that was hilarious. And I couldn't stop laughing. And, and my match is about to start, and I'm just like giggling to myself. So I try to tune them out because they're hilarious and they're, and I just try to not pay attention, but every now and then they get me, and it's always hilarious.
That's funny. I can see that. I remember some of those lines too. That's great. All right.
Yeah, so, those guys are so clever.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and it takes a talent to if for example the comedians that come into Lucha Libre and Laughs, it takes good talent to ad-lib, something they're not exactly completely familiar with. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it's very true. Because I've been doing these shows with Lucha Libre and Laughs for so long, like I think it's going on 4 or 5 years now, that I've just been consistently being booked with these guys. And I it's promotion I really love, and I really take a lot of pride in how cool these shows have become. But because of that, I've become friends with a lot of these comedians. So I tend to go to their shows when I know when I'm available and they have shows around. Guys like Sam Talent and Nate Lund and Ian Douglas Terry and Corey Healy and all of these guys, like Preston Thompson, all these guys. I just become kind of friendly with them, and good friends with a couple of them. You go to their shows, they know who you are, they introduce you, everybody's like happy to see you. And it's weird how much comedians and professional wrestlers have in common. We go been to their house parties, and partied with these guys. And just because you're traveling entertainers, and you're looking for bookings, you're always in the green room, you're always on the road, like those kind of stories are universal between comedians and wrestlers. So you have a ton of things to bond over. So it's kind of easy making friends between those two circles. And you never think those two things together, but you get them together and they actually go together pretty well. It's a really cool dynamic.
Yeah, I would agree. I love going to Triple L. It's fun. It's STD. It's something totally different, and it's well worth the price of admission. I mean, you can't beat it.
Oh yeah, man. We've won a comedy night of the year like 4 years in a row. We just keep racking up awards with Westward and different other places like that. We got a commendation from the Senate, like the U.S. Senate. It's crazy, like how much these shows mean to people and how loyal our fan base is because when I first started booking with them, the fans that were there to see comedians, and they weren't there so much to see wrestling. And it's grown so much that these guys who aren't traditional wrestling fans, who may not watch Monday Night Raw every week, and they may not know who who Lou Thez is or anything like that, but they come to Lucha Laughs and they know who Mike Seidel is, they know who Zach who Anaya is, they know who Aligato is, they know who I am, they know the mainstays, and they know what we bring to the table. So it's pretty cool to see the way the fans have grown from comedian or comedy fans to wrestling fans, and it's great to be able to see that like evolve and grow over the last 4 years.
Right. Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the near future. Do you have any kind of wish list of people you would like to get in the ring with, either as a singles competitor, or I know you don't do a lot of tag team matches, but even as a tag team match, and who would you like to tag with as your partner in some of your dream matches?
Well, me and Len Parker have been tagging in Lucha Libre and Laughs lately. We've been kind of whenever he's around, whenever we can. That's who my tag partner is these days. We've been having a blast. Our styles are very similar with lots of striking, lots of aerial offense. So that's a dynamic that works really well. Plus, me and Len just kind of get along. We've had some fantastic matches together. So as a tag team, I think we really gel. Me and him had a really, really fun tag match against Caleb Crush and Xan Creed just a few months ago, and just had a blast with that. So any tag teams out there, yeah, I'll probably be tagging with Len against whoever. As far as singles matches, there's a lot of younger guys that are coming up right now that I've worked with Filter a ton of times. Always just been impressed with him and look forward to the next time. Got to get in there with Curtis Cole, which was really cool. After the match, he told me that before he started wrestling out here, I was like his favorite wrestler out here. So it was a big deal for him. And I was super impressed with him and, would absolutely love to jump in the ring with him again. Austin Logan's another guy that, I've come to know. Wouldn't mind getting in there with Len Parker again. There's a new crop of talent that's coming up that I'm paying attention to. Even guys in Rocky Mountain Pro. Guys, I think there's a guy there named Bruce Waynes that I've kind of seen a couple times that I've just kind of liked what he's brought to the table. There's a whole bunch of new guys that are just coming through right now that I would love to get in the ring with. And I'm always looking for new guys, new experiences, anything like that. Cody Devine, if he ever makes his way back out here to Colorado, love to kick his head in again. Caleb Crush is, one of my students. I always have a fun time wrestling him. So, Royce ever comes back here, me and Mike Seidel have talked. Me and Matt Seidel, his brother, actually chatted about wrestling last time he was in town. So he might be somebody that I got my eye on. And always Martin, Marty the Moth. He's actually a good friend of mine. And we've never actually been able to wrestle one-on-one. Been in a four-way match against each other, but maybe Marty one-on-one would be a lot of fun sometime soon.
Oh, well, cool. I mean, I know Marty comes by, Colorado a few times a year. So, and, he is, as far as I know, he's still the Rocky Mountain Pro Twitch champion. So he has to defend it. Yeah,
I did see that. Yeah, I have to reach out to Marty and see what he's up to. Last time he was out here, I actually drove him back to the airport. And me and Marty we've been good friends for a while. He had a good time at my birthday party a few years ago. So,
cool.
But when he gets out here, I always try to hang out with him whenever he's around. So yeah, maybe that'll be something that we can look forward to in the future. I know it's something we've discussed before.
Oh, cool. So I kind of gather from just talking to you here, do you feel like you're kind of like one of the elder statesmen, I should say, in the Colorado area, just kind of watching over the scene and kind of getting a good feel for everything that's happening?
Yeah, I feel kind of earned that. I don't know if there's any active wrestler out in Colorado that's been doing it longer than me. Like I said, in August it'll be 20 years. I know Joe McDougall at LLL has been around for a long time. Johnny Crash, who, I helped train him too. He's been around for a long time. There's been a bunch of guys that have been doing it for a minute, but yeah, I'm definitely one of those guys that's been here for a while, and very proud of how much this territory's grown, how good the talent has gotten to be out here, how much fun the shows have become. Because for a long time there, the shows weren't great. This is when wrestling was kind of in a little downslope, and now, you go and see you could go a lot of different places and see some incredibly excellent shows. And, now Nick and Nick and Matt are, we got Respect Women's Wrestling going on now. And that's how strong the territory was, where, back in the day you'd have one, maybe two girls that could wrestle. And most of the time they were wrestling guys. And now you've got a promotion here in Colorado that's for women wrestling. Before you'd be lucky to have one women's match on a whole show. And now you've got a whole show filled with women, which is, it's fantastic to see how much this territory has grown, how good the talent's gotten. girls and guys, and tag teams, and whatever else have you. Seeing where it was to where it is now, I'm glad to be part of it, and I plan to be a part of it for a while, and I'm working with a lot of the new crop that's coming up, and seeing what's next, and I'd be happy anything that I could do to help strengthen the territory or make it a little bit better. Anything I can help do, make the shows a little bit more fun, then I'm always down for that. I'm always just very proud of the whole territory, and I'm looking forward to seeing how big it can get.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, especially in the last, I would say, especially in the last 3 years or so, we have had so many promotions debut and just take off, like you said.
Yeah, for a long time, guys would start up, run 2 shows, and then close down, or they start up and only use wrestlers that were very cheap or they could get for free, and shows wouldn't be that good, and they would never run again. But now you've actually got guys who are actually putting, effort into promoting and actually, doing what you're supposed to do, and booking good talent and reaching out and getting good talent from other places to come in. And, there's so much going on that it's really proud to see a guy like Matt Yaden, who I've known for a very long time, seeing what he's able to do with RMP is really cool. Seeing Nick, go from promoting comedy shows to now he's got 2 promotions, 2 wrestling promotions that he's promoting. It's really cool to see that stuff. Joe McDougal's been promoting Primos. I think that's the oldest promotion in Colorado. They've been promoting longer than everybody. So it's really cool to see the size of the shows and how much effort everybody's putting into it, and how much they, how much pride they're taking into it. Like I said, seeing the bigger things that like Yaden and Nick, they're sold out time and time again, over and over again. And, there's just so many people, and we're turning away people at the door, which has happened, quite a few times. It's a really cool feeling to be a part of that.
Right. Okay. Well, so let's talk about what you have coming up in the near future. What promotions are you working with for? And tell all the listeners, about that.
Mainly, you can see me at Lucha Libre and Laughs. Right now, with like more personal stuff, I've had to slow down and take a lot less bookings, just because my personal time has been kind of occupied. Making money outside of wrestling has become a huge priority. So, and fortunately, things are going pretty well. So I kind of want to focus on that. So Lucha Libre and Laughs is my focal point right now. But, you never know. Like I said, I have a lot of friends here in Colorado, and, I don't really have enemies. As far as I know, I don't have heat with people. So, when it comes time, I might reach out to a couple different people and see where I might wind up. Just last year, a couple times, I jumped in the ring at Primos just to have a little bit of fun and, beat up a couple people. That was fun. So, I'm always open to suggestions. If any other promoters out there have any ideas for me or anything like that, I'm always willing to listen. Like I said, I'm at a point now where I just really enjoy doing this. So yeah, very soon I might reach out to some people, or if they reach out to me, I know there's a lot going on in Colorado Springs right now. So, if anything down there is interested, I'm always available, man. I'm always, as Naito would say, I'm very tranquilo right now.
Yeah. All right. So, April 5th, you'll be at Lucha Libre and Laughs. And if so, do you have an opponent yet that we can announce?
We can't announce it yet. Nick hasn't announced the opponent.
Okay.
I will give it a little bit of a teaser. It won't be just one opponent. How's that?
Okay, that sounds cool. That's a great teaser. That's a good reason to go to luchalibreandlaughs.com and purchase a ticket. Yeah,
if you look at all the craziest stuff I've ever done in Lucha Libre and Laughs, it's always been in and matches. So expect some silliness that night. I know. The guys, so far, the guys from what I've heard that I'll be in the ring with, I can't stress it enough. It's going to be an amazing show. Lucha Libre and Laughs is always an amazing show. So yeah, April 5th, come check it out. Oriental Theater, 44th and Tennyson. It's pretty much our home. So come check us out and come see what we can do.
All right. Okay. Well, Lonnie, before I let you go, if the listeners wanted to follow you up on social media, where could they do that?
Let's see. On Instagram, I'm Valdez Addiction. On Twitter, it's at Lonnie_Valdez. And on Facebook, it's just facebook.com/Lonnie Valdez. So any one of those, probably find the other profiles from those profiles.
Okay, gotcha, cool. All right, once again, Lonnie, I appreciate you coming on to the podcast, and I will definitely be seeing you on the 5th. I think I've already got my ticket, so.
That's fantastic, man. I look forward to seeing you, man, and make sure to come say hi and shake my hands, because, after I get beat up, I'm probably not paying attention too much to anybody. So make sure to come say what's up, and I'll shake your hand. Thank you for having me on the show. And like I said, just seeing this territory grow to the point where we have podcasters now is really cool for me, man. So thank you for contributing to the territory, and I look forward to seeing you on the 5th, bro.
Okay, cool. All right, sounds good.
All right, man. You have a good day.
Okay. Once again, a big thank you to Lonnie Valdez for coming on to the podcast this go around for this episode and letting the listeners know all about him, his great stories, and his wrestling career so far. So, once again, thank you. So, let's get into it and do the weekend review when it comes to the wrestling that I experienced this go around for the Wrestling with Altitude area. So we talked about it a little bit. We had the Rocky Mountain Pro Ignition and Charge tapings. I believe they said they were trying to get ready to they're going to go live on Right Now TV here very shortly in April, which is literally right around the corner. So they got to do some test runs with that this go around. Seemed like it happened pretty well. It went off smoothly, and they did a great job. And I called them out on Twitter saying that, the episode there for Ignition and Charge on last Thursday was so good. Now upcoming this Thursday, they've got Supercharged 3, and I'm like, how you guys going to top that? So got that challenge out to them, and they liked the tweet, so I think they've got something cooked up very well for us people going to be watching it in attendance and on their Twitch stream and for Right Now TV. On Friday, Rocky Mountain Pro returned to the Alamo. You remember the Alamo? And they had the Hot Fuzz movie. They're starring Simon Pegg, which a lot of people know. He's been in a lot of things. For me, he's, of course, the new Scotty, of Star Trek fame. And they did really well, in my opinion, with this too. A lot of the matches were themed to the movie theater experience, and that was great. I'm going to do a special shout out to Chongo Bronson, because his character plays extremely well in the movie theater environment, and they did really well. And I never had seen Hot Fuzz, like I had mentioned on Twitter, and I may have mentioned it here on the podcast, and I actually enjoyed it. It was definitely a well worth seeing. I think it's definitely one of those movies that you must see. You go ahead and put it on your list to make that part of your movie watching experience. And then on Saturday, I went to Iron Hills Championship Wrestling for the very first time in Colorado Springs, and I enjoyed it. I got called out for not sitting in the fourth row, but there, of course, I just kind of said that I'm just incognito and I'm just my alter self. So There you go. I enjoyed it, and I'm going to say this has probably been one of those great weekends that every single event and show that I went to this past weekend, they all hit it out of the ballpark. So I'm going to give a big kudos to everybody that I saw and attended in person. So that's great. So let's talk about what we have coming up here in the area. Well, we have a huge weekend, of course. So let's go back and reference that we have. Well, you know what? Actually, instead of me talking about it, let me have a couple people talk about it now.
Hazard here. I don't have much time. This broadcast is going out to the Rocky Mountain Pro Multiverse. Did you know that RMP has 4 shows going on this weekend? Too many shows, you say? Nonsense. What if I told you that if you purchase just 1 ticket to the Summit Music Hall for this Sunday, featuring a special Q&A with Al Snow and Stevie Richards, that you will also get access to Supercharged 3 this Thursday in Golden? Rocky Mountain Pro Experience at Rack House on Friday, and we are back at Romero's Canine Club at Tap House this Saturday at Lafayette. Buy 1, get 3 shows free. That's not Steiner math, that's Hazard math. Oh, and don't forget about the Bob Evans Super Camp going on March 28th through the 31st with Bob Evans, Al Snow, Stevie Richards, Chris Silvio, and many more. Hangs with Bob. Get better, noobs. Also, Marty the Moth will be back to defend his Twitch title. And he is going to be offering his supplements to keep you supplemented while you are enjoying all of this nice wrestling action. Uh-oh, I gotta go. Hazard out.
This weekend, Rocky Mountain Pro is bringing its audience 4 exciting events around Colorado. Don't miss the action as we bring Pro Wrestling Elevated to Golden, Denver, Lafayette, and for the first time ever, Pro Wrestling at the Summit Music Hall. Be there for the top wrestling in the Rocky Mountain region, capped off with a huge first-time event with some special guests, Al Snow and Stevie Richards. Other special guests include Brutal Bob Evans and Tough Tim Hughes of Ring of Honor, and former Lucha Underground champion Marty the Moth, as well as special guests from around the world. And for a limited time, get all 4 events for one price by heading to rmpwrestling.com/events and purchase your tickets for Summit Music Hall to get access to every event of the weekend, Thursday through Sunday. To experience Rocky Mountain Pro is to experience Pro Wrestling Elevated. Tickets are on sale now.
All right, so there you have it from the mouth of Hazard and owner of Rocky Mountain Pro, Mercury Matt Yaden. Now, I don't remember if they said there in the 2 promos, but if you need to get tickets for any of these events, including the Super Camp, it's as simple as going to rmpwrestling.com. So what else do we have happening in the Wrestling with Altitude area? Well, we have another event. It is the Bad Boys of Wrestling. If you have not heard about the Bad Boys of Wrestling, well, basically, what it is it's a touring promotion. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. They have wrestling teamed up with monster trucks, and it is basically monster trucks and, other auto type stuff. I think they even have some kind of sometimes motorcycle tricks and things like that as well, motorsports type stuff. And So they go to all types of different cities. Well, this weekend coming up on Saturday and Sunday, they are going to be in Montrose, Colorado, which is what we call the Western Slope. So it's on the other side of the continental divide of the United States. So your listeners, if you may not be familiar with the Colorado area, that's where it's at. It's about a 5-hour drive or so from Denver, depending on how lead-footed you are and all that stuff like that. Most of the time from Denver, we go through the mountains, and so this weather looks like it should be pretty decent. It's going to probably be outside. I think, I'm not positive of the Montrose Fairgrounds event center that it's going to be at, but on Saturday they're actually having 2 shows. One is at 2 p.m. to 4:30 according to their Facebook page, and the other starts at 7 going till 9. And then on Saturday, their show is at just one show on Saturday at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And if you need to get tickets, just go to NoLimitsMonsterTrucks.com. Simple as that. You can buy your tickets right there for many of their upcoming events. Looks like they also are going to be in Potacella, Idaho soon, and Powder D, Kentucky as well. So, or they may have already been there just recently. So that's what it looks like according to their website. And then also on Sunday, as well as you may have been heard on the previous episode with Tough Guy Inc., Hugo's Lucha Libre is having their big show on Sunday the 31st at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds, the same place that Rocky Mountain Pro holds their events. And if you want to get tickets, I think all you need to do is you can either get them ahead of time by calling 720-365-2592, or you can get tickets at the door. So some of the people that you may be familiar with, of course, previous people that have been on the podcast, Delta Jr., Anaya, Tough Guy Inc., Brutal Bob Evans, and Tough Tim Hughes, of course, wrestling, and Martin Casals, Marty the Moth Martinez, as some of you may know, is also scheduled to appear on that as well. So, hey, that is it. So, but before we go, let's give a big shout out to the Trending Topics Network, who hosts this show. And if you guys love the Wrestling with Altitude podcast, go ahead and subscribe or stay subscribed to this feed, and you can catch other great shows such as Wrestling Cheers, the Spanish Announce Table, and Chill, the Eurovision Showcase, and also the Soapbox. So if you want to get a hold of the show, you can email me, mr4throw@gmail.com. Check out the website at wrestlingwithaltitude.com, and you can contact me on Twitter, WrestleAltitude, at WrestleAltitude. So thank you all for listening and having fun wrestling with altitude.